Hello, everyone, and welcome to BFM 3130 Entrepreneurship and Fintech. Now, in this first lecture, we'll just go over the unit briefly, and then we will talk about the main blocks of building a startup. During the next 12 weeks, we will be trying to go over those blocks one by one. Some of them will include pitching. Some of them will include AI and blockchain technologies introduction. But the most important thing also will be the understanding how to come with the concept or the idea of the startup. And week 2, we will invite somebody to talk about, a guest speaker will talk about internship concepts and entrepreneur mindset. And then we will continue to have guest speakers as we progress in this unit. We will also invite someone to talk about regulation in week 8. Now, without further ado, I'll just start to share my slides for today, and they should be self-explanatory. So this is the first lecture, and we are talking about the introduction to Fintech and internship. So this is what we are trying actually to get. And this week, we want to understand what is the unit about and what is expected of you. This is a very interesting unit. The more we give it, the more we will have out of it. This is a long life learning type of unit. It's a capstone for the Fintech major, and it should be very useful, and also hopefully we will all enjoy it as we progress. I think we have talked about the assessment structure and the introduction video, which I already uploaded for you. I will go over it briefly, but we will discuss it in details when we meet on Friday. On Friday, please be there. Try to be there because we will talk about the unit. We will talk also about the assessment structure, and most importantly, we will try to form the groups. If not forming the groups in the first class, it has to be done by the second class. Now, today, actually, we want to achieve the following learning goals. We want to define what Fintech is. I know the prerequisite for this class is BFW 120, which is the Introduction to Financial Technology that you have taken with Dr. Mirzet. Today, we will go over it a little bit just to recap what you know. And then we will identify the, what you call the ecosystem, Fintech. Let me just, the Fintech ecosystem, which is very important issue. And then we explore the relationship between entrepreneurship and Fintech. Actually, when we talk about Fintech, you are entrepreneur by definition or by default. And therefore, those ideas of entrepreneurship should be included as you progress. Then we will recognize the main components of successful Fintech venture. Now, you have seen this before. The most important thing is here, which is to come with the idea of trying to incorporate technology into a finance problem and come that satisfy a user need. If you can do this, which is coming up with the right concept, then having a finance problem, finding the right technology, and incorporating that, which has a user need, then it's a Fintech concept. You just need to take care of the funding, and also you have to see whether you can do this from a regulation standpoint. Now, after that, you will go to the FinTech concept. And when we go to the FinTech concept, today we will talk about all of this, just introduction. We'll talk about all those issues, just introduce them, which means from here to here, all these areas, we'll try to introduce it. Now, having said that, let me just talk about the, I think you have talked about this, but as I said, it's very important that I see you on Friday from 10 to 12, our first tutorial. In that tutorial, we will outline the whole progress of the issue, especially the assessment structure and how we are going to go about it. By week 3, hopefully I will upload for you all the details of those assessments with the rubrics. So as you progress, you will see, you will be comfortable doing this. Now, if you look at those 4 assessment section, which is whether you are talking about the individual assessment or the group presentation, this is a group actually. This is actually a group presentation. This will be individual and this will be individual. Now, the whole thing, which is 100%, stand or go around the building of the startup. It's not different. It's just one project called the startup, but we divide it where some people will do it individually when we follow the concept, which is in this case, then we will do pitching among the group and pick up the best idea and continue to do the project, which is here, which you will present in week 11 and submit to me in week 13. Now, after that, you will tell me your experience here. And as I told you, I will give you rubrics how to do it. I think I have talked about this in the introduction, but I'm just repeating so you know how this progress. Now, let me start with the FinTech. I know it's very basic for you to define what FinTech is, which is technology plus finance service that has a user. So a FinTech or financial technology refers to integration of technology and offerings by financial service companies to improve their use and delivery to consumers. Now, somebody would say where this FinTech comes from. Actually, it doesn't come from vacuum. It's a progress over almost now 70, 80 years, but we didn't call it FinTech. It was start with the use of internet technology, and then start through the financial institutions and keep progressing until we find now the private entrepreneurs who can do it, who can do those financial services and either compete or cooperate with the financial institutions. So we will talk about it here. Now, the current FinTech landscape in Malaysia, I will show you the final report for 2023. I already uploaded this report for you. I will guide you to all the reports in Asia, because when you started trying to do this concept here, when you start to do the individual assessment and trying to go with this concept, you will be needing to know all the reports, what are the companies working there, what are the areas of FinTech they are working in. So these reports for 23 on Asia, I can give you some areas in Europe, and also I will concentrate in Malaysia since we have more access to those companies around here. So for Malaysia, I think I give you 2019, 20, 21, and this 23. For the other countries, we have only 23. Now, this is coming to the next point, which is here, the evaluation of FinTech. Sorry, there was early stage, which is the earliest 20th century. There was traditional banking. traditional banking, as we know, just you go to the branch, you withdraw a check, you deposit money, everything was physical. And that was what we know in banking since they started 600 years ago. So the customers have to see branches. But then in the mid of the 20th century, they introduced the credit cards. Credit cards were a big innovation in the banking, and this credit card continue to work until now. And this actually reduced the reliance on cash. Now, in 1960 and 1970, banks started to use computers, which means all those, actually the whole accounting system was in computers, including the data for the customers, their balances, their accounts, their withdrawals. So instead of writing in the books, now you have some type of computers who can do that, which is for us, when we think about it now, it's so basic. How did they do it manually for 600 years? And now they are trying to do it like this. So, so there was the recording and the keeping. But there was big changes actually when they started the SWIFT. Now, those all international transaction between banks have to be very protected. So SWIFT, which was started in 1973, was actually the one who provided those coding. And if you are working in a bank, there will be a SWIFT department that has to give you a code. Even if you, they will give a code, they will generate a code which is cannot be, it's very encrypted, nobody can access it or hack it. Even if you want to transfer from any country to another country, the sender will ask you what is the SWIFT of your bank and what is your account number. So SWIFT is actually an encrypted tool to protect those and protect those transactions. The online banking started in 1980 to 1990. I think this is the time where we started to use ATM machines also. So there was this is the time of the internet, online banking services started to, you can be able now to check your bank account, withdrawals, all transactions, check balances from home through this access. And you can manage even your accounts from personal computers. Mobile banking also started in 2000. We still have mobile banking until now, which is within the profile of smartphones. When smartphones actually come to that time, so those all mobile apps started to, we have a lot of them in Malaysia, especially when you talk about Maybank, M-A-E, what you call app. So mobile banking apps is so many of them, and they started with mobile banking. And we have started digital payment systems like PayPal, and then we have so many. Now we have Touch and Go. All those wallets come after that. Now, until 2010 until now, we started with and this is our topic, the rise of the fintech companies. And talk about the rise of the fintech companies. You can have them in payments, peer-to-peer lending, robo-advisors, blockchain, all these things you have started read into BFW 2120 with Dr. Merzet. Recently, in 2022, 23, we started, at least in Malaysia, we have started with the digital banks. Digital banks, we call it new banks. So no banks, nothing. It's all online, all online. There is no physical banking at all. And then in Malaysia, for example, there's so many around the world, but in Malaysia, the application started in 2022. And then by 23, they approved those 5 banks and they licensed them. Now in Europe also, we have the open banking. This regulation like PSD2 allows everybody to share data. And why we share data? Now, when you share data, you can actually develop new services. So open banking is actually a new concept, and it's a very huge source for fintech companies or fintech startups, because when you have all the data, you can do all the analysis. And this is by law. You have to share data so people can use this data and develop new products. How the current fintech landscape looks. This is actually the main thing. We have the payment system, we have the lending, we have the insurance, what you call InsurTech, we have wealth management, wealth tech, and we have the blockchain and cryptocurrencies, and we have the RegTech. Now, under every one of this, if you want to just look at it from bird eye, you can look at the under the payment system. We have the digital wallets, online payments, the remittance. Now, I suggest, and we will discuss also in this class, when you want to look at this, you want to see the closest market to you. In our case, it will be Malaysia. Here, I bring you some international, actually, startups and companies that are doing all of this. But also in Malaysia, we have this in the report. And I will show you how does it look in the report. You can see it in Malaysia, you can see it in Hong Kong, you can see it in Singapore, you can see it anywhere in the world. And it will show you who is working in each area of this, because this is the breakdown of the payment and transfers. You can have digital wallets, you can have online banks, online payments, and you can have remittance. All of this can show what companies are working in this country and the other countries. And why I am saying this, because when you come now with the first, with your idea for the first assignment, you will have to look at all this landscape and see where the idea, where you can penetrate and see a user need. And then you will see the other companies. For example, if you decide to go with the digital wallets, maybe digital wallets already, the market is saturated, but you can look to other areas and see whether, and when you see other areas, you can see it either for, if you are going to do socioeconomic type of projects, or you will do a startup for profits. So all of this, as you can see, areas, and those areas are actually included here. If you see, for example, in the payments, we have 72 companies. This is, we have 30, as of today, at least the one reported in the final report in Malaysia, we have 313 companies. Now, if you want to look at the payments, if you go here and you want to see who else is working in the payments, you will find all those guys. Some of them you can identify them and you know them. Some of them, maybe they are small, maybe they are growing. Some of them come, fail, and go. Some of them start again. So some of them, like JHL here, they are working in payments. They are working in lending. This is PayPal, if you remember. This is an international one. But JHL, for example, this one, which is actually, you will find it here, you will find it here, you will find it in so many places. And this is actually the landscape in Malaysia. Now, as I told you, if you want to see what companies are working in this area and how do they do it, maybe you have a different idea how you want to start your own for this class at least, or you can extend it later on. You will see one of those companies, go check it, go see how they are doing it, what are the obstacles, what were their business model, and how can you do it yourself or develop your project. This is Swift. You can see it here, as you see, for the payments, which we have talked about it. This is also another good company. So we will have all of those. Of course, GrabPay and Touch and Go all are here. So you have something under the payment, under the remittance, under the EI and data, marketplace, lending, e-wallets. All these wallets are actually here. You find also PayPal is here. You will find the most famous one in Malaysia is also working here, which is Grab. Actually, when you are, of course, there is, if somebody is interested in Islamic fintech, they have also their own, because I can talk about Islamic fintech when we come. And Islamic fintech has something with when there is delay in payments, whether you are going to count an interest or not interest. And the other ones, it's just the usual banking. If you do a payment and the payment's late, so in this case, you will have to pay the late fees or the interest. Since Islamic finance and Islamic fintech reflects Islamic finance, so you cannot take interest, so they provide some other tools. So as I told you, and other services like InsurTech, you have here, you have WealthCare, and we continue like this. So now this is actually the breaking. If you can see, we are working at this is actually represent 50%. Where the blockchain is not, is not a big deal. You can see actually the most important thing is here and here and here. And it looks like most of those ones are working in payments. Payments and lending. E-wallets is actually type of payments. Remittance is type of payments. It's just the lending which is different. The interesting things, which is the crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is when you are talking about, you are a finance student. If you want to go to lend, you go to banks. So this is the one that provide the banking function. If you want to take partners and go bring investors who are interested in dividends or profits, and in finance, we go for IPO. Here we do the crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is not lending for a fixed amount of return. It's some type of dividends, and it's only 2%. And I guess the problem with this, as we will talk about it later on, is the risk included, because they think maybe we, go with those companies may go successful or not successful. This is another problem. So we will talk about this when we meet. Now, the key players. Who are the key players in this fintech ecosystem? When we talk about ecosystem, you have the startups, you have the financial institutions, you have the technology providers. The startups is the one who are going to do the service. The financial institution will be the one who will take from you the service, or the one who will compete with you. Now, the technology providers, you can have them in your team, or you can provide some, for example, if you are actually developing blockchain system or EIs, you have always technology providers, and you have also technology providers for the startup. Now, the startup need technology, so you will have startup, you will have a technology providers, which is the backbone of this industry. And we have the most important guy, which is an obstacle sometimes. It will not allow us to do everything, which is the regulatory bodies. So in Malaysia, we have BNM. In Australia, we have the Australian Securities and Investment Commission, called ASIC. Remember, in banking, if you have taken banking with me, we used EBRA. Now, there is an interaction between those three people, and actually, I kept this for a tutorial question, which we will discuss it in class. So this question will be carried out for class discussion. Now, who are the fintech hubs around the world? Which is, you can find it in the US, Silicon Valley, you have it in London, we have it in Singapore, which is very important one, which is close to us. And it's very interesting to know that Singapore is one of the gateways in Asia. Actually, Hong Kong is also coming up. Malaysia is also working in it. But if you look at Asia, you can find Hong Kong and Singapore. And actually, those hubs, if you are there, you can find that access to capital, as we will talk about you. There is a raise funding for the startup, depends on its grade stage. You will have to have an access to capital. And those hubs, you will have very talented people to work for. You will have supportive regulation. And this is a very good setup to have a successful startup. And you will have, a very vibrant ecosystems. Now, I was thinking, because I told you Singapore and Hong Kong. Actually, I will upload for you also the report for this. See, in Singapore, we have 700 companies. We have only 313. These people have 303 companies in Hong Kong, and you can see it's almost the same. But the interesting thing, see how blockchain is taking how much here. Blockchain in Malaysia was very minimal. If you look at the blockchain in Malaysia, it's only 7%. If you go to Hong Kong, you will find it around 24%, which is an advanced ones. The quality of those ones, the quality of the startups, the payments, 60%, and also you have here, RegTech is also high. So this is something you want to look at when you go and you go around it. Singapore crowdfunding is also like Malaysia, but you will find the investment with care is higher than Malaysia. RegTech is very high. The blockchain also 80%. So this will give you an indication that those markets actually are a hub, because you can see the areas they are tackling and fintech. Now, how to build a fintech startup, which is what we are trying to do. We have to understand a design thinking, and this is which I told you. We will have to bring somebody who will show and talk about the design thinking and the entrepreneur mindset. And week 2, they will come and explain for us those issues. Of course, I will upload for you the slide, and I will discuss it, but we need some experienced people also to help us in this one. When you design thinking, and this is where you come up with the idea. Now, when you started and you come with the idea and come with the team and progressing, you will have to have a product, which means you have to have your product has to be tested in the market. And this is very important thing when we talk about MVP. MVP, which is the minimum viable product, this is the one that you will put it in the market and see the reaction of the public, of the user. And then you come and you make iterates and then started to adopt and change. So you'll have to conduct surveys, focus groups. And when you ask them about, when you conduct a survey or focus group, you will ask them about your minimum, your MVP, which is the initial product which you have released to the market. So you will have to do conduct survey, market survey, do focus groups with those users, make market analysis, and validate the demand of your product, which is the MVP. Maybe it's not successful then, or successful with some improvements, you improve, and then you brought the next one. And also, as you progress, you will keep updating your financial thing, your startup, the product of this startup. Now, there is, as you progress and you come with the MVP and all those issues, you have to be aware of the regulation, because they are crazy about everything. And you have also to see that the technology will support these improvements. Now, The growth of the fintech startup, actually, we will talk about it in week 3, week 4. Now, you will have to come with the idea, and this is what you are going to do. I don't want to spend time in this graph too much because we'll talk about it in details, but I want to tell you there is an idea, there is a seed stage, and then the early stage, which is actually 5 stages, A, B, C. And then you will have to the growth stage. So this is the early stage, and then you will have the growth stage until you reach to the maturity stage. And this maturity stage, maybe you would, here in this area, after you move from here to here, which is in the early stage, and see the stage, you will have to talk about the where you are going to raise the funds, especially when you are in the growth stage. And by the way, we'll talk about it. The investors in this area are different from the investors in this area, which is a maturity stage. Here you will find mutual funds, can have an IPO, here you will have an angel investors. Here, ideation and seed stage, this is just your money, which you call it a bootstrap. So this is actually reflect the growth where you can sell your startup at goal or bring partners when if you are successful and you reach this stage. Now, the reason I brought this graph, because I want to talk about the funding. Now, the bootstrapping, if you can map the bootstrapping, if you want to map, you can map the funding to this area. So the bootstrapping is actually in these areas, in the seed stage and the ideation and validation. And then you have angel investors, they come in the early stage. And then you have the venture capital. Those are institutional investors like mutual funds, providing large amounts of capital in exchange for equity. Those will be like partners. Then you can have it through crowdfunding. You can raise small amounts of money from large number of people, typically via online platforms. Scaling strategies, when you want to scale up, then you have the growth hacking techniques, using creative low-cost strategies to acquire and retain customers. And then can have a partnership and collaboration. Collaborating with other companies to access new markets and resources. And then you can expand to a new market. So you started in Malaysia, you want to go to Singapore. By the way, most of those Singapore startups have expanded to here, have expanded to Malaysia, to Singapore, to Hong Kong, other places. If you go in Africa, for example, you will find that South Africa is the hub there, and then they move to Kenya, to Ethiopia, to all those countries in Africa. You will find the Middle East, the same thing. So in this area of the world, we can expand if you have a good idea, or you can work in the local market. Now, how I'm talking about the business model. Where do I get my money? So you will get your money, the type of models, either business to business, which means you will provide a startup to do something like credit scoring for a bank and choose the right customer to provide it to the bank and have access to the bank, have some access to the bank. Customers and applicants have access to your app. Then in this case, you can connect both of them and charge fees. You can do this business to consumers. You offer a financial product directly to consumers. And then you can have B2C, which is business to consumers. This is partnering with business to reach consumers. This is when huge companies can partner with you so you can reach them to customers. Those 3 types of business models or type models. How do you survive? Where do you get your money? You get it from subscription if you have an app. You can have transaction fees. And if anybody wants to use your app, they can have a license fee. So this is where the startup get their money from, either subscribers or transaction fees if you are working in uh, B2B or B2C or B2B2C, then this is can apply. And we will talk about this when we move to week 4 and 5. Now, navigating regulations, this is the most important thing and can be a very big headache. This also framework in these regulations, you can have the regulators. As you can see here, we have the either Bank Negara or the Security Commission. In Singapore, you have the Monetary Authority of MAS, which is the Monetary Authority of Singapore. So you have different regulators, and you have to be aware of the details of their regulations. And if you move from one country to another country, then in this case, you will see how does it work. If you can, how Grab now is working in Malaysia, working in Indonesia, working in Thailand, and you will see how they are adopting. I have a report, and I will show you and discuss it, how they are actually dealing with all those regulations when they provide their services in different countries. This is what happened in the frameworks and standards. You have to be aware of it also. And you have to have compliance strategies. You have to be staying updated because they keep changing the regulations. You have to have robust compliance programs, compliance program, and you have to use RegTech solutions to automate compliance process. What technologies are we using? Of course, we are using the artificial intelligence. This we will talk about it in week 7 and 8. We will bring also experts to help us with this. So the AIs, the blockchain, and the distributed ledger technology, this is actually very important for the cryptos and for counting applications, anything where you want to have records. We will talk about blockchain. Blockchain is a very useful, but it has also some shortcomings. And we have to understand that when you get there. AI is providing so many things. We have EBI, which is economy and open banking. And this is enable data sharing. And this is what we told you. We talked about the open banking. And then we have to understand about the cybersecurity and fintech. This is a very important issue because if somebody can hack your app, get access to the data, destroy all the data, you are gone. Not you are only gone, you will be under huge legal cases because you will be responsible. It's not only you lose your business, but also you will be under legal problems. We will talk about this example of how this technology is being used in real world fintech application. I brought some cases and videos already uploaded for you, and we will talk about it when we go to the tutorial. Now, what are the challenges? As I told you, the regulation. The regulation is an obstacle because of two things. One of the things is they want to protect the system, and also they want to protect the consumers, and they want to a digital economy and fintech industry to grow, and they don't want to have they want to have the trust of the users, and they want to compete, and this is why they keep trying to protect everybody, and by this they impose these regulations. And the problem is these regulations keep changing, which means if you start, then you have to always update your services, your startup, your settings, your technologies used according to these regulatory new regulations. that regulate the area which you are working in. Cybersecurity threats is a very big issue, and you have to protect your thing. Of course, if you are working, the safest for cybersecurity is the blockchain. Nobody can get to you. I mean, the hash function will keep you, and we'll talk about it, will keep you very, very protected. But the problem with the blockchain, as I told you, is very strict, and doesn't have all those uses. Some of them just neglected and try to use AIs and other technologies that are more flexible. You have also to have the customer trust and acquisition. You have to maintain this trust. You have to maintain a very good word of mouth, so it goes around because if I use an app and I like it, I will recommend it to somebody else. Then you can, do all this marketing. And I think if you are doing this, and you are doing this with fintech, I recommend somebody, if you are going to work on this, to have some ideas and some knowledge about the digital marketing. You also need to understand how it works, because this will promote your service and your startup business. Now, risk management strategies, you have to implement this cybersecurity issue. You have to always be compliant with the compliance programs, compliance regulations, and you have to also to do ethical, no money laundering, no under table businesses. You have to have regular and transparent and ethical business practices when you do it. Now we will talk about risk management as we progress in the issue, but we have talked already about it. And as you can see, again, regulatory compliance is a problem. Cybersecurity is a problem. You have to manage it. Now we identify it, and we have also to manage it. Data privacy, and they are under huge obligation to comply with the data privacy of those users. You have to be able to detect fraud in the system if somebody is trying to make some fraud. And you will find, if you have a lousy system, this is a normal thing. You will find so many of them. You have to have a risk management for the whole framework. You have to have a very flexible and resilient operational, which means always you can adopt. You have also to manage the third-party risk management, which means you have to manage third-party, like the users, or they are working business to business, and you are involved with the bank. You have also to be sure that you manage the risk and disinvolvement, and also the user. Consumer protection, you have to, and this is related also to the data privacy. You have also to be always innovative, which means always progress. Otherwise, you will be obsolete, because so many people are coming to the market. And I told you that there is so many things, but when you are successful, you really can be successful. You can sell you can get huge money. You can sell your even startup for someone else under what you call exit strategy. You have to have a very good governance inside your company, which is the startup. You have always to have good training, and you have to have a legal safeguards, like ensure all fintech solutions are backed by strong legal frameworks, and you have to have of course, if your startup is actually IP type, you have to protect that. So there is intellectual property where you have to register it and protect it. Now, the future of fintech and entrepreneurship, we'll try to I hope everybody in the world know it. We'll just, contemplate what they are. But the emerging trends, the depends actually in the market. We are talking about decentralized finance, and this is actually a blockchain side of technologies. The fintech for social goods. I think I have uploaded some videos for you, but this is when you are trying to go with the sustainability, financial inclusion, and all those things. This is a big one, and then you will have support actually from so many organizations and and governments can support those programs. And then the integration of fintech with other industries. Now, our integration now with the financial institutions. We are trying to work with the financial institutions as we are financial technology startup. But actually, there is so many industries that you can involve with and provide some type of financial services. I already uploaded for you one video, which is about this farming, a very successful startup in South Africa about aerobotics. Aerobotics, please look at it. I already uploaded the video for you. You have also to have the future fintech trend is actually the skills and competencies for fintech entrepreneurs. And we want to discuss this in the tutorial. I just want to see how can we actually carry this question. We want to see what are the characteristics of this fintech entrepreneur. In other words, do we have it? And if we don't have it, can we gain it? Can we get it? Can we train ourselves to be like that? I don't think with training, of course, everybody can get it, but we want to check that one. So in week one to see whether how fit we are as individuals. Now let me come to innovation and entrepreneurship. This towards actually those two terms are overlapping, and they are very important for us because we are entrepreneurs. And this is why this class called Entrepreneurship and Innovation. We'll talk about it in next week. But there's two sides of the same coin, which is innovation and entrepreneurships. So the terms can be expensive, definition, wide-ranging, and often further divided into more specific categories that are itself without clear boundaries. You can have disruptive innovation. You can have social entrepreneurs. This is all terms for innovation and entrepreneurship. On their own, innovation and entrepreneurship are each a thriving discipline of a thought and practice, but when pulled together, the synergies and dynamics are many and complex. For now, as we start, we just want to recognize and appreciate how the two terms, so each complex, distinct, valuable, and are often entwined and integrated like two sides of a coin. For me, entrepreneurship and innovation, if you go deep, if you are working in these disciplines, then you can find the difference. But as far as we are concerned in this class, for me, innovation is the basic concept of an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship and innovation is actually the one that will help us to be entrepreneurs. So this entrepreneurship opportunities is coming from innovation. We have to identify the market gaps and pain points. We have to look at the trends, which means here we will see a gap which has not been addressed. Here we will see a gap that has been addressed, but we want to see how can we go with that trend and improve it. And we will try to bring
some examples in the tutorial. Now, disrupting traditional services, we want also to, when we talk about entrepreneurship and innovation, we want to see how fintech is changing traditional banking, payments, lending, and investing, especially from those companies that are built every day, those startups. We will bring some examples of traditional services being replaced and enhanced by fintech solutions. As I told you, we will check the future trends and we will try to bring this question also to the tutorial. I'm done for today. This is actually an overall type of overview of the unit, but as we progress, we will see things more clearly. This unit is very interesting, and hopefully we will enjoy it and we will take benefit out of it. I will stop recording now. Thank you very much, and we'll see you in class. Bye-bye.